Well, welcome Life West community, Dr. Ron Oberstein for another weekly Life West podcast. Today, I've got a very close friend of mine with us from the college, Dr. Anatole Bogatski, our Executive Vice President. Welcome to the podcast, Dr. Bogatski.
Hey, Dr. Oberstein, wonderful to be here.
I love it, and good to have you. Hey, let's jump into it real, so that our listeners kind of know what's going on. First, let's just share with us, in a nutshell, because you do a lot on campus. Tell us what you do on campus as a vice president.
Yeah, I want to keep it really quick. So a lot of what I do is behind the scenes. You don't really get to see me. I'm doing a lot of compliance work. We're writing a lot of policy. We're making sure everybody is safe on campus, and that's very important to me personally, but I know it's very important to everybody listening as well. Obviously, there's a lot of facility stuff going on, and that's just never ending in a building like what we have. And then I'm over a bunch of other things like marketing and admissions and student life and athletics and all those sorts of things. There are always little issues and decisions to be done. And so that keeps me busy, Dr. O.
Oh, absolutely. And I watch you be busy. Believe me, I'm we meet every week. But I think it's important for our listeners to know that there's so much that happens behind the scenes, that is, it has to be coordinated. I think one of the biggest things that you're doing also is that you're mapping the annual plan. So continually mapping. We have an annual plan, and our annual plan feeds into our strategic plan, and you're making sure that everyone's on target. Are we moving in the right direction? Do we need to recalibrate, need to move, whatever? You're taking that data and working that, which takes a lot of your time, and that's huge too. So that's awesome. But Anatole, I think what I want to get into right now is because we can dive into all these little pieces and things that you're doing, which are super important, but might be a little bit boring for certain people and might be exciting for others. Let's share about who you are, because I think that, people see you on campus, and obviously, they see that you have an accent. And so tell us where you come from, and then share with us how you got on. We'll talk more about how you got involved in chiropractic.
So yeah, it's a bit of a story. Kiwi, born in Wellington, New Zealand, and graduated out of their university and then off to Scotland, where I got a little bit of a Scottish burr in my accent. I tend to pick up accents a little, and my daughter keeps telling me, "Don't fake it, Dad." But I don't know, just somehow it happens. But anyway, got my doctorate there and back to Foreign Affairs, and I traveled the world with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in New Zealand for a little, and they stuck me in deep, dark Russia for 4 years with my wife. Some good and some bad. And anybody who wants to hear some vodka stories, please come by and I'll tell you plenty. And then after that, sort of came back and resigned, and I worked as a business lobbyist. I did a lot of bilateral business councils in New Zealand. I was the director general there. And then I got into higher ed, and that's where I've stayed. And I really found my calling there and my comfort zone. So I've been a pretty senior administrator now in 6 different higher ed institutions, for-profit, not-for-profit, large and small.
Share with us how you got into chiropractic. So
that's a fascinating story, because my wife is a chemistry teacher, and she was tutoring a student from the New Zealand College of Chiropractic. And my daughter had trouble with her ears and what we call, grommets. I think they're, what you put in your ears. And the student said, "Why don't you go to the New Zealand College of Chiropractic, send her there, and she'll get chiropractically adjusted, and that'll help." So we did, and she did get chiropractically adjusted, and she never had those things put back in her ears ever after that. So then we got onto a family package in the outpatient clinic at the New Zealand College of Chiropractic, and we were right into it. And that was about 20 years back, actually 23 years back, something like that. And then really totally serendipitously, I was at a conference I was presenting, and a guy walks up to me after my presentation and says, "Would you like to come visit my college?" And that was Dr. Brian Kelly, who was president of the New Zealand College of Chiropractic. So I did visit. He made me an offer. I switched institutions, and I ended up being VP to him down there in New Zealand.
Nice. And then that's how you got to Life West, right? And then boom. And now you guys are green carded, or is that right?
We are. It's a hell of a story there. We made it. There was a bit of a celebration. Both my wife and I got green cards. But we're not going anywhere. We're staying with the college. We absolutely love chiropractic, love the students, love everything that they stand for and you stand for. and I can't do without my weekly adjustment.
Yeah, if only you were younger, you'd be back in chiropractic school, right? He's got a thumbs up for our viewers to see that, to hear that. That's so great. Well, that's so cool, and and I think that for our listeners to come and spend some time, come down to the executive suites and make an appointment just to meet with Dr. Bogatski, just to talk. He's fascinating. He's been all over the world. He's worked all over the world, from India and Asia to Russia to down, to down under. And then, of course, now in the USA. And I know this personally, Dr. Bogatski, that we can talk forever and ever and ever, because there's so many stories and so many fun things that come out. So for our listeners, please take advantage, get in to see Dr. Bogatski and just get to know him, invite him for lunch on the patio. My feeling is he'll probably pay, but just do that but be gentle. Be gentle on what you buy. Anyways, Dr. Anatole, we end every one of these podcasts with a question that I ask, and it's very simple. You've listened to the podcast, so you probably know what they are. It's the ethos of the college. We're going to go through lasting purpose, giving, doing, loving, and serving. And I'm going to ask you at this moment, because it can change in the next moment, but at this moment, out of the 4 words of give, do, love, and serve, which one resonates with you the most right now, and why? Right.
So serve. Service is very much at this time of COVID, very much needed, I think. I'm here to serve everybody at this college, but beyond the college, the community, to make sure we're all safe. And we get through this. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I really do. I know it's happening. I know things are going to get a whole lot better, and we'll get this college right back to that level of vibrancy and energy that we had prior to COVID when everybody was on campus. I can't wait to have students back in the halls, hugging and high-fiving. So I'm here to serve to make sure that happens.
That's awesome. That's so beautiful, and we all can't wait for that. I think every one of our viewers would agree with you. So to our listeners, I want to thank you for being with us today. I want to thank Dr. Bogatski for his time, and just remember, as we always say, make sure you live your life from the inside out, and know that healing, works from above down, inside out, and that within you have a power far greater than most of us were ever taught to know or believe. So just keep utilizing that and keep living your life from a place of giving, doing, loving, and serving. Until we come back at you next week, have a great week. And Dr. Anatole, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Dr. O.
Absolutely. You're so welcome. And thank you, everybody. We'll be back at you next week. Bye-bye.